Sex?
Alright, so we are here with Zin. They won the OTS tournament.
Gimmick Puppet best card for real this time.
That's why you're not in the shot.
Get him out of here. Get him out of here. You don't belong.
1-0 games a day. Zen, you did so good.
What'd you play today, Zin?
I played Gimmick Puppets.
Nightmare.
Alright.
Then
Ready when you are.
Okay. It's pretty standard. 3 copies of Little Soldier.
I
Do you
don't know.
want me to explain what the cards do?
Sure.
This card stands for cost. It's broken. It's almost FTK by itself. You can level 8 with it, and it modulates levels. 3 copies of Rouge Doll. This card is also broken. This specials itself from hand and a monster from deck, and it adds itself back to hand when it's at the graveyard. It's insane. 2 copies of Terror Baby. Every card and every monster in this deck is broken. They have a broken effect. This card lets you revive a Gimmick Puppet on summon, but also you can just banish from the graveyard and your opponent can't respond to anything, any Gimmick Puppet effect for the entire turn, as a lingering effect. Alright, 1 copy of Cattle Scream. This is like a half brick. Also, this is still FTK, so you get this is your level 8 with it too. You play Drury Doll. Special from hand or graveyard. Has a second effect, never comes up. Disc Doll is an extender, protects you from targeting for the whole turn, just like Terror Baby. And then Drury Doll, you can banish one from your graveyard, special summon it from graveyard, and it can only be used as extra material for a Gimmick Puppet. You only play Gimmick Puppets anyways, besides 1 card. So that's all the monsters you play, or Gimmick Puppet monsters at least. Play 3 copies of Condolence Puppet. This is Foolish Burial, and it becomes like Shaddoll Fusion when you go second. It gets an extra send for every extra X1 monster your opponent controls, and you can banish it from the graveyard to make a Gimmick Puppet you control indestructible like card effects permanently. And then 3 copies of Mansion. This is the most broken card in the deck. It adds on activation, it makes all your guys unaffected, they can't be destroyed by battle, and it helps you FTK even more with the last effect too. It's just the whole, it's 1 card FTK, you can't Nibiru, you can't, even if you Nibiru your own guy, you still have push there. You can't imperm, I mean you can imperm, but if you activate Bistol, you can't imperm either, so yeah, anything up to is unaffected. And then 1 copy of the trap card. This is like your plan B, and also gives you a little bit of follow-up there. You get this on the FTK line anyways, because the Chaos Xyz just searches it. It's like a snatch steal for every Xyz monster you control, and it also gives you follow-up by banishing from the graveyard. So this is for the Gimmick Puppet cards. Then we have the Horus package, 3 copies of Insetti, 1 copy of Happy, 1 Kingstar there. These are just because the only time you're locked in this deck is from the extra deck in the Gimmick Puppets after you use Rouge Doll. So these are all just really good level 8 bodies. You can just get an Xyz monster by yourself with Insetti there. You get to dig in your deck. Also, just putting some of the Gimmick Puppets like Drury Doll and Terror Baby into the graveyard is really good too. And then we play 1 copy of Walls of the Imperial Tomb and 1 set rotation so that you can get more access to the field spell, because the field spell is the best card in the deck. So you play every way to get the field spell. And 1 copy of Terraforming too.
No metaverse?
No metaverse. Yeah, we try to win on the first turn. I could play like Makura. We probably switch off the Horus card. 1 copy of Foolish. Just good. It's Foolish Burial. 2 copies of Argent Chaos Force. It's just a normal rank up. It ranks up a rank 5 or higher Xyz, and the one right above it. The wonderful thing about this deck is that, none of the Xyz monsters care what they're ranked up into, so they all go into any of them. They don't need to have a specific monster attached to them to gain their effects like most of the number C monsters. And then this also, when you summon a rank 5 or higher Xyz from the extra deck, you get to add it back to your hand once per duel. So yeah, 2 copies is really good. It's searchable during your combo, but it's also just, you don't want to draw it if you have, it's kind of a garnet if you draw this 1, because then you can't get your extra normal summon effect. It's just a really good card to draw too, because it's like a choke point in the deck is getting the rank up magic. And then for non-engine, played 3 copies of Droplet. It's the best non-engine in the deck, and mainly what you rely on for, just helps you everything. You have a lot of cards you want to get rid of. And then for hand traps, just played 1 Ash, 1 Droll, 2 Imperms. I couldn't think of a last card, and I didn't want to play Nib because I think Nib's garbage. And then 3 copies of Cross Out. I never had to activate this today. I drew it like every game. I never activated it once. And then one copy of Cold Black, which I also never saw. So that's the main deck. And the extra deck, very standard. It's 14 Gimmick Puppet cards and then Santaphon, so you can make it with the Horus cards if you don't use Rouge Doll yet. And then it's kind of good, right? It's kind of a decent card right now, stopping your opponent from specialing for the graveyard. But yeah, it's whatever. So one copy of Gigantus Doll. You never actually make this card. When the new Gimmick Puppet Fiendish Knight comes out, you might, but this is just there because you need to reveal a level 4 for Rouge Doll sometimes to summon little soldiers from the deck. Then 2 copies of Giant Grinder. This is a double pop, and if you have Pop an Xyz monster, you get to do damage equal to the original attack. It comes up with certain FTK lines, but usually it's just a nice thing to have also. 2 copies of Strings. This puts string counters on everything on the field, and then that helps. This is very, very important for the FTK. The string counters, it technically destroys them by itself, but it's during your opponent's next end phase. And then 2 copies of the new Fantastic Machinax. This gives you your rank. This does everything. It gives you your rank of magic spell when you detach, and an extra normal summon for a machine monster, and it brings itself back from the graveyard when you special summon another Gimmick of Pixies, and gives you back the rank of magic again. So you get the rank up 3 times over the turn. Just off 1 search. This card is really, really good. It's also got 31 defense. So yeah, it just keeps coming back. And then for the rank ups, we have one copy of Giant Hunter. Once per turn lets you detach 1, target a card your opponent controls, pop it, and then if it was a monster, you do damage to the original attack. It's the worst of the rank ups. It's nice to have as a toolbox option, and also just to finish off your opponent in certain lines. 2 copies of Dark Strings. This is the most important card for the FTK. On special summon, and just on special summon, it doesn't have to be XZ summon. It destroys as many monsters with string counters as possible, and then you draw a card, and then inflict damage to your opponent equal to the highest attack among the destroyed monsters. That includes your own monsters, and it's these are 33. You destroy a 31 monster, so you do 3,100 damage. You do 2,000, then you do another 3,000 damage, and then that's more than enough there. This is not once per turn. And also, the second effect lets you detach to place a string counter on each face of monster your opponent controls. So then you can link it off and bring it back. And then since it's only on special summon, it doesn't have to have any materials for it to nuke the field and then burn your opponent. So you make this up, rank it up twice, and then you link it off and bring it back with Terror Baby and do it again. This card is the problem child of the entire deck. There.
How did your opponents feel about that card tonight?
I did the FTK like 3 times there, but it's also just really good because it's just it just makes this card and this card just nukes the board, and you draw a card. So during the course of the combo, you draw 3 cards. I mean, by the time you draw the last one, your opponent gets burned for game, so you draw 2 cards. And then 2 copies of Chaos Xyz Machinax. This card is also really busted. It's 3,100 attack too, so it's really huge. You get to search a puppet trap when it's a special summon. And you can detach material from it, special from your graveyard to your opponent's field, a monster from either graveyard. So that's how you keep burning your opponent for everything. And this is also a interruption where if a monster is special to your opponent's field, including by you, certain lines can use it, you can destroy one of the monsters and then do damage equal to half the original attack. Normally you don't use it in standard lines because it only does half and you want to do the full damage, but it's still really good. If you just make this by itself, you get like 2 good interruptions still, which is, if you have the field spell and this, it can be enough because the field spell is hard to out. Unless you have Phoenix or SP, you have to focus on that for it. So it's just a good turn 1 play too. It's like a only turn 1 play, besides just making a bunch of big guys. And then 2 copies of the Link, which on summon, you get to add a Gimmick Puppet from your deck to your hand or send it to the graveyard, and then you can special summon a Gimmick Puppet from your hand. This is how, at the end, this is how you get Terror Baby and then do the last bit of burn damage. So it's just a really great Link monster. That's the deck. You literally just play 1 card that's not a Gimmick Puppet and 14 Gimmick Puppet names there, and you play all of them. I'm not playing the Leo or Disaster Leo because I think it's a bit gimmicky, but it is pretty funny.
Did you use a side deck today?
I did use a side deck, but it was really bad. I barely used any of the cards from it the entire day. I slapped it together last second. So
it wasn't even really that necessary.
Yeah, I don't think I even used any cards from my side deck, honestly, or just for solid.
That's funny. Anyone you'd like to shout out?
Shout out to Nathan for letting me borrow his Horus cards there. And shout out to Caleb for playing Nightmare in his deck. So if I did get paired up against him, it would have been very appreciated. Right. Shout out to Konami for making these cards. All right.
For sure. Well, thank you.
Thank you.